Hope you slept well last night. Hope you had a nice weekend. I am going to get myself set here, and then we are going to begin this week by talking about the fourth rule of marksmanship. Alright, so the fourth rule of marksmanship centers around the fact that the marksman has to know their target and what's beyond it. And this rule speaks to me in the context of, as marksmen, we have to be aware that our smallest actions, the trigger press, has the capacity to have greater influence beyond our target. So we have to be aware of those kinds of things. Now, that's pretty obvious in the context of marksmanship. A slight, ricochet or a bounce off the ground or whatever. If we don't know what's behind what we're shooting at, there could be catastrophic consequences. So that mindset is built into the marksman. Now that mindset has a bigger value, and this week I want to explore it. And so this first topic, today, I'd like to introduce to you a man by the name of Father Emil Kapaun. He was born in early 1900s. He was born in Kansas. At a young age, he felt called to the priesthood. There's stories of him creating little altars and doing mass at his home when he was little. He became ordained as a priest in the Catholic Church, and he did some work in his local parish in Kansas, but his deeper calling was to the military. And so he ended up becoming a chaplain, and he served in the late stages of World War II. He really became well known for always being where he was needed. He was the guy that showed up in your foxhole when you'd been sitting around kind of bored or cold or struggling, and he'd show up and he'd smoke his pipe with you, and he'd give you an apple, or he'd give you some smokes, or he was just the guy that was always there. One of the things I also read about him was that he was just a prodigious writer. He would write home to every family whose son he gave last rites to. He of course was he was the chaplain for all the soldiers, so it didn't matter. Well, he really became his path was, or God called on him, I should say, during the Korean War. And during the Korean War, he ended up in just an unbelievable set of circumstances, and I'll go over the details a little bit more tomorrow. But inside these circumstances, it's clear that he was not thinking about himself, and he was moving from a different place. There was the activating element within him was beyond his self, and that's the point I want to get to this week. I want to explore this notion of beyond self this week. And while I will tell you some stories, I really want to just show you within your own self. And that's really where the practice comes in. So we've gone 3 weeks now. We've gone over first bell, second bell, third bell, and now we're going into fourth bell. In my mind, this is the practice. This is the key element of the practice, is getting here, fourth bell. And the reason why this is the key element is because each step along the way kind of creates for you a calmer body, a quieter mind, a more focused breath, and all those things are meant to bring you into a place of deeper union with open-heartedness. Now, this deeper union with open-heartedness is a quiet space. It's not a space that's intellectual. It's not a space that's preconceived. It's a space that you get to by quieting down the kind of the layers of what it is to live a human experience. The first bell is the layer of kind of the safety valve, which is the area of your senses. So your senses are always taking in information, but your senses are pre-programmed to assess threat. And we know this in the context of the fight or flight response. So you've got this, it's very old, it takes place in the back of your brain here. It's something that we share with all other living creatures, this self-preservation. So that first layer has to be kind of assessed. So you assess that first layer with first bell. Second bell is the body. You cannot escape the body. You can't transcend the body. You have to find a way to connect to the body and create a place for the body to be settled. And again, you're kind of moving into the areas of where kind of threat or where unease kind of can culminate and accumulate and cause armor. Once you get to third bell, your attempt is to blend with what's showed up in first and second bell. You're breathing into it, you're settling in even further. And once you've done that, you've created, optimally, you've created what's called the parasympathetic response, which is the rest and relaxation response. It's the response where your body is quiet. It's the response where your mind is quiet. And in that space, there's the opportunity for the heart to really be the main driver of the kind of awareness. And in my mind, this is the space where the unknown is. That aspect about ourselves that is kind of beyond our ability to give it a scientific explanation, give it a clear, measurable, repeatable analysis. It's the part of us that is not the intellect. It's the part of us that is the spark, the light. Maybe it's the part of us that's where God rests inside us all. And so that's where I want to explore this week. And I don't want to tell you what it is. I want to show you. This isn't a place to be told about. It's a place to experience. So I'll just do that. Okay, so we'll go through 4 bells and we'll study it again tomorrow. Okay. Follow your cues. What gives you a sense of kind of comfort and ease? Get that set up. Here comes first bell. What shows up for you? Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. What do you feel? Maybe the air. Maybe you feel your face. Maybe you feel your eyes. I feel my eyes. I'm going to close them. What do you hear? Where do you hear what you hear? Curiosity tames the mind every time. What do you smell? What's the temperature where you are feel like? Taste. What does your mouth taste like? Let's go bell two. Find your ground. All the parts that are touching something beneath you. Move up from your ground into your pelvis. Base of the spine. Follow that up. Core space. If you have sensation in that region, say you need to go to the bathroom, feel it. Notice it. Not what it signifies, not what it means, not what you have to do because you feel it, but what it actually feels like now. From there, move up to the heart space. Heart space, shoulder blades. Give it just a little bit of movement. Not a lot, just a little bit. From there, come up to your throat. Notice the throat. Maybe even an opportunity here to just turn the head a little bit. Especially if it feels very free, very smooth. Just notice the movement that you do have. Don't push into any pain or any movement that you don't have. Just notice ease. There, move up to the top of the head, top of the spine. Get taller by 1 millimeter. Hack the face. Hack the vagus nerve. Hack the face. Relax the face. Soften behind the eyes. Soften the cheeks, chin, jaw, tongue. Put a little smile on there. Let's go third bell. Let's do the trigger press practice. So that's where you take your fingertips, your thumb and your forefinger, and you're going to inhale on the separation of the fingers, exhale on the bringing together. So keep it perfectly balanced. Do that 5 times. What are you grateful for? Once you've gone through a number of things in your mind that you're grateful for, share it. Offer it to those that have less than you. Take what's inside your heart that you've just kind of culminated with a series of things that you're grateful for, and now offer it to those that are struggling. Maybe it's an individual you know. Maybe it's a group of people. Maybe it's just something in general. Maybe it's the earth. But imagine that what you have growing brightly inside your heart is something that you can share with other people or other things and send it out. Be intentional about how you finish. I like to take 2 more breaths, and on the second exhale, practice is over. It's one of the things about all this. The space to get to is what I think makes Father Caven such an interesting study. The space to get to is the space that is beyond yourself. That's why you're grateful. That's why you offer compassion. So this notion of the space of what am I beyond myself? That's the question that can only be answered by you. I can't tell you. You follow me because I can show you that part of yourself. But I'm nothing special. I'm simply a framer. I frame moments. You are the experiencer, and it's your experience of the 4th bell that is what I hope I'm able to show you and make a little bit more clear for you this week. Always a pleasure, Armor Down. I'll see you tomorrow.